Boys and girls, we are working with numerical problems on capacitors in series and parallel, and I've told you a few techniques on the basis of which you will be able to solve numericals quickly. Let us revise the technique quickly. The most important technique is to determine the potential difference across two capacitors directly. Though, if we have two capacitors in series, and you have to determine the potential drop across one of them, you will have to determine the equivalent capacity, find the charge on the equivalent capacitor, say that is the charge on the individual capacitors also, and then divide it. But if there are two capacitors, you can do it directly. Example, let's revise as is my habit that we do it in variable form. The potential difference across the supply is V, this capacitor is X and this capacitor is Y microfarad. What is the potential drop across C2? V2 is Vx over. This is the way to understand things. What I say is कि potential का बंटवारा कर दिया, and you can do things directly. I hope all of you have understood this. Okay, the more we do, the more we learn. The potential drop across a capacitor, especially when there are two capacitors, can be determined by dividing the potential in the inverse ratio. The total potential to be divided is V. Nobody tells me after a week, sir, ये तो मुझे आया नहीं. Because दूसरा तरीका काफी लंबा है. हो तो जाता है, आ तो जाता है. ठीक है? नहीं बेटे, if you have to determine it across Y, then you will have to take the other capacitor first and divide it by the sum. This is what we mean when we divide things in inverse ratio. If things would be divided in direct ratio, as it would be in electric current, then जिस कैपेसिटर दे across ਆਪਾਂ ਲੱਭਣਾ ਹੈ ਉਹੀ ਲਿਖਣਾ. But in capacitors, the potential drop is in the inverse ratio of their capacities. Low. Ready? This is C1, C2, C3, C4, and this is, let me say, 20 volts. The argument is to determine the equivalent capacity, the charge on each, the equivalent capacity, charge on each, and the potential drop across C3. These questions are so well chosen that you will be able to do any question at a later stage. Sukhma ji, how was your Harley ride yesterday?
Sir.
You were zooming around in from Padiala to Chandigarh?
सर वो तुम्हारा ब्याह था ना, मम्मी के साथ गई थी.
अच्छा.
वो मेरे पापा के बेटी की जब ब्याह है सर.
तो कहते भी सुखमन द हार्ले डेविडसन पे जा रही है.
सर हो गया, मैं नहीं कितने जाऊंगी, मैं तो जमा बस आती हूँ.
ओके.
So 4 equivalent capacity.
Please work out all questions so that देखो सृष्टि girls, 4 microfarad is the right answer. Now how to judge, how to see? बहुत सारे जने को पता, बहुत सारे मैं दस नहीं. वैसे तो it is an electrostatic situation, but we will always consider the transient stage when charge is being distributed. जहाँ पर division हो गई ना शुरू, वो सीरीज में तो नहीं है, पर जरूरी नहीं है कि वो पैरेलल में है. ठीक है? C2 and C1 are not in parallel. So जितों चार्ज डिवाइड होया, कुछ C1 की तरफ गया, कुछ C2 में गया. जितना C2 में गया, उतना ही C3 में गया, उतना ही C4 में गया. These capacitors can be interchanged, no difference, because the charge which is going to be divided over here will be divided in accordance with the series equivalent of C2, C3 and C4. What we can draw is we can draw a small equivalent diagram. This is definitely C1 and this is definitely C dash, where C dash is the series equivalent of C2, C3 and C4. So C1 is definitely 2 microfarads and C dash we know that 1 by C dash is 1 by 12 plus 1 by 6 plus 1 by 4. This will give me C dash to be
2 microfarads.
मैंने किसे सिखाया था? 12 6 72. 72 by 18 is 4 and 4 and 4 is definitely 2. So C dash is 2 microfarad. So this is now 2 microfarads and 20 volts. The equivalent capacity is C, which is C1 plus C dash, which will be equal to 4 microfarads. The second part is to determine the charge on each. Do I need to determine the charge on the equivalent capacitor? Do I need to determine the charge on C?
Yes, yes.
No need.
CS.
No need.
CS. First series वाला. Series वाला.
C dash पे determine करें.
Series वाला.
C पे determine करने की कोई जरूरत नहीं. सब तो पहले charge on C1 is Q1. This is C1 into V because the potential difference across C1 is surely 20 volts. C1 is 2 into 10 to the power minus 6 and V is 20. Q1 is 40 microcoulombs. The potential now, the charge on C2, C3 and C4 is the same. But how much? That is the charge on C dash. So notes which जरूर लिखो initially बेटे. Charge on C2, C3 and C4 is the same. Why? Because they are in series. ठीक है? And is the same as the charge on their series equivalent C dash. Therefore Q dash is C dash into V because C dash is also connected across 20 volts. C dash is how much? 2 into 10 to the power minus 6 into 20. कितना आ गया? 40 microcoulomb, which is also Q1, which is also Q2, Q3 and Q4. So we have determined the charge on each. The potential drop across C3, V3 is Q3 by C3. Q3 is 40 into 10 to the power minus 6 and C3 is 6. कितना आ गया जी? 20 by 3 volts. ठीक है? It is a mechanism which has to exist in your mind. To determine the charge on a particular capacitor and the potential drop across a capacitor is the most important thing. Most of the students will write the potential drop across each of it to be 20. Please do not do it. 20 is actually divided in because from here to here is 20 and C1 there across to 20 है. I hope it is right. You can also determine the potential drop across C2 or C4 in exactly the same manner. बता दो. Are you sure? Let's see. Okay. A, B, B, G, F. Find the equivalent capacity across A and F. Okay? And if this is 10 volts, find the charge on each and the potential difference across C2. Equivalent capacity. Charge on each. Potential difference across C2. ठंडा दिमाग. Equivalent capacity? I don't think so. I don't think so. Relax, relax.
Five by
It's frustrating to get a wrong answer and wonderful to get a right one. If you lose track somewhere, you're gone. Five by 3 is the equivalent capacity, please. Charan. कितने गंदे से कैपेसिटर के क्रॉस पोटेंशियल डिफरेंस पूछा ना मैंने. But that is what we're going to learn here today. I really don't know. I'll have to evaluate it. 1 C2 हुआ
Yes.
सारा हो गया. Let me also make smaller circuits. This is basically C1, C4 and C5. They are not in series. They are not in series. I'm still making. And this is one here. C dash बोल दूँ इसको? Yeah, I'll call it C23. Better to call it C23 because it's an equivalent of C2 and C3. C1 is 5 microfarad. C23 is 2 microfarad. I'm not going to express it. In an exam you must. C4 is 3 microfarad and C5 is 5 microfarad. If you draw another equivalent, I have C1, C dash and C5 in series. This becomes just a disk question now. Okay? And across it, C1 is how much? 5 microfarad. This is how much? This is also 5 microfarad and this is also 5 microfarad. Across it we have 10 volts. Okay? Whenever we have to determine the charge, we must travel reverse. We must travel reverse in a circuit which we cannot visualize easily. Now it is really fallen into place. The entire jigsaw puzzle is very clear. And this is a single capacitor across 10 volts. And C is how much? C is 1 by 5 plus 1 by 5 plus 1 by 5 with 1 by C. So 3 by 5 will be 5 by 3. 5 by 3 microfarads is the equivalent capacity. ये किसके पास आई थी? Check करो. ठीक है? Where are you faltering? Most students think that C1, C4 and C5 are in series. What you have to do is इथों चार्ज चला दो. यार यहाँ तो बंटवारा हो गया, डिवाइड हो गया चार्ज. सीरीज में चार्ज तो सेम होता है, पर जो भी हुआ वो C2 और C3 में सेम होगा. That is why C2 and C3 are in series. आज तो बात सीख के जाओगे बेटे. C2 and C3 are in series, and the combination of C23 and C4 is in parallel because it is connected between the same 2 points without anything else in between. The C23 and C4 are definitely in parallel between these 2 points, and I have marked their equivalent to be C dash. So please see that you draw these diagrams for the reverse circuits and things would definitely be very well understood. The next part is to determine the charge on each. Prabhur, once again, should I determine the charge on the equivalent capacitor? नहीं, क्या जरूरत है? क्यों? क्योंकि C1 और C5 वाकई कैपेसिटर्स हैं, and C is the equivalent of this. If I determine the charge on C, that will be the charge on C1, C dash, as well as C5. That will solve a lot of issues, at least two of them. So why not go ahead? The charge on Q is C into V, which is, I think we have a lot of fractions involved here. 5 by 3 into 10 raised to power minus 6 into 10. कितना हो गया है? 50 by 3 microcoulomb. This is therefore Q1 equal to Q5 equal to Q dash is 50 by 3 microcoulomb. We need to determine the charge on C4 and C23. The charge on C2 and C3 is the same as the charge on C23. I'm working very, very slowly. The charge on C23 जितना होएगा, that is the same as the charge on C2 and
C3.
Therefore, and to determine the charge on C4. This means we need to determine the potential drop across C dash. Sometimes the values are such that you can clearly visualize it. बराबर का divide होगा. It will be 10 by 3. It will be 10 by 3 because the capacities are the same. Nevertheless, if this doesn't strike you, so I will determine the potential drop across a C dash, which is V dash, which is Q dash by C dash. Q dash is 50 by 3 into 10 to the power minus 6, and C dash is a 5 into 10 to the power minus 6. Thus, V dash is 10 by 3 volts, which could be visualized otherwise also. Which could be visualized otherwise also. Now, once I know this is the potential drop across V4 and the potential drop across V23, because V dash is the सारा कुछ आ गया इस क्वेश्चन में बेटे, because V dash is the parallel combination of V4 and V23, and the potential drop across V4 and V23 will be the same, पर होएगा कितना as the potential drop across V dash. The charge on C1, C dash and C5 is the same, पर होएगा कितना जितना C दे. Charge on C23 is the same as the charge on C2 and C3. बड़ा कुछ आ गया इस क्वेश्चन में.
C2 dash 5 by 3 ना.
है बेटे? Sorry.
By 3 तो 5 by 3.
कैसे हो गया?
C dash.
ठीक है 10 by 3 है.
5 by 3 ना C dash. C है.
ठीक है यार. Q dash is 50 by 3 into 10 to the power minus 6. C dash is 5 into 10 to the power minus 6. ठीक है? Please concentrate. Now, Q4, the charge on C4 will be C4 into V4. So V4 is the same as V dash. C4 कितना? 3 into 10 to the power minus 6 into V4 कितना? 10 by 3 into इतना ही वोल्ट है. ठीक है? Thus this is going to be 10 microcoulombs. This is 10 microcoulombs. ठीक है? Thus Q4 is 10 microcoulombs. I hope I'm right. Now I will determine the charge on C23, Q23, which is C23 into V23. V23 is the same as V dash. C23 is how much? 2 into 10 to the power minus 6 into V23 is how much? 10 by 3. This makes it 20 by 3 microcoulomb. Therefore, Q2 equal to Q3 equal to 20 by 3 microcoulombs. We have found Q1, Q2, Q3, Q4 and Q5. Basically, जेड़ा C1 ते charge C, वो पता कितना सी? 50 by 3. 50 by 3 gets divided amongst 3 and 2 into 20 by 3 and 10. 50 by 3 बनता क्या? Total has to remain the same. We are still left with one issue. The potential drop across C2. Thanda dimag. Actually, V23 is V2 plus V3. The total potential drop across P and G is the potential drop across C dash. This is the point A, this is the point B, and this is the point G. The point D gets absorbed. And this is the point F. This is the point B, and this is the point G. Actually, the potential drop across BG is V dash. ठीक है? Potential drop across BG is actually V2 plus V3. VBG कितना है? V dash. VBG is a
10 by 3.
VBG is V dash. This is 10 by 3 equal to V2 plus. बंटवारा कर लेते हैं. बंटवारा कर लेते हैं. Therefore V2 कितना आ गया जी? 10 by 3 needs to be divided
3 by 9.
into 3
By 9.
by 9.
10 by 9.
था किसी के पास? This simply tells me it is the sum 10 by 9 volts. Very, very nicely done, please. I hope it is clear. The potential drop across BG is the potential drop across C dash, which is 10 by 3. 10 by 3 is the potential drop across C4, and 10 by 3 is the potential drop across C2 and C3. Inverse ratio से किया मैंने. Inverse ratio से किया. V2 plus V3 is 10 by 3. VBG is the same as V dash. C dash is the capacitor along B and G. Very, very interesting question. Everything about capacitors. If you know this question, you know everything about capacitors. दो capacitors series हैं. उन्हों दे across. This is yesterday's question. Yesterday's question. If two capacitors are in series, and you need to determine the potential drop across one, but you should know the potential drop across the combination, which is also not the total. So we have to determine the potential drop across B and G. This is the most difficult part, please. Series parallel divide करना समझ आ गया? कि how do you observe that these capacitors are in series and these are in? If two capacitors do not seem to be in series, it is not necessary that they are in parallel. ठीक है? In this question, C1, C4 and C5 are not in series because during the charging process the charge would get divided. The charge on C1, C4 is not the same. Series वास्ते most important गाल है that the charge must be the same. So we will have to spend some time today here also. लो पहले सीरीज पैरेलल खोलते हैं और पोटेंशियल ड्रॉप तो हो ही जाएगा. बना लो साथ से. कैसे आता है सर? वो रजिस्टर बना हुआ है. Find the equivalent capacity across A and G. कितनी देर
40 by 7.
Do you think I can calculate it 40 by 7? When I draw the last capacitor, you know, it's already solved. When I draw the last capacitor, the answer is already in my mind. I keep working it out. Do you think I have the capacity to do it by 40 by 7? हाँ जी छवि जी 6 I think it's 5 we are going to learn the series and combination initially potential difference तो बड़ी बात है निकालना let's see how we can work out the five. You have to tell me that what mistakes are you committing. Kritik got it right the first Anji. And you got 5? Doubt है इसीलिए बैठे हैं.
सर वो दोनों सीरीज में तीनों का आदत फिर करते
And मैंने नहीं जल्दी समझ आता नहीं मुझे. And I've been advised to speak in Hindi more and less in Punjabi because of this thing. And I have to search for words for Hindi. Anji, what is ऐसे बता कि सबसे पहले क्या नजर आ रहा है?
सर AGD सीरीज में
यार I have named them very nicely C1, C2, C3, C4 and C5.
C1 C5 सीरीज.
Just a minute. How can C1 and C5 be in series? वहाँ तो डिवीजन हो रही है. So it means this is wrong. हाँ जी come again. हाँ जी आप बताओ. C2 and C3 are in series. This is the only thing that can be observed the first of all. You can also say कि sir in the same manner C1 and C5 are in series. नहीं बच्चा. Whatever charging happens from A. कुछ चार्ज C1 में गया, कुछ C4 में गया, कुछ ऊपर गया. ऊपर C2 के अकॉर्डिंग नहीं गया. C2 और C3 के सीरीज इक्विवेलेंट के अकॉर्डिंग गया. Thus the first thing that we can observe here is C2 and C3 are in
series.
how much? 2. 4 and 4 gives me 2. That 2 and the C4 2 are in parallel. Gives me 1. It means across A and D. 4. Sorry, they are in parallel. So 2 and 2 gives me 4. It means A और D के across एक सिंगल कैपेसिटर लगा हुआ है 4 माइक्रोफैराड्स का. Then that 4 and this 4 are in series. 4 and 4 gives me 2. And this 2 and 3 would be then in. I can draw the equivalent circuits if you want. You would appreciate a different color of it. You have a single capacitor here. Of capacity 2. You don't have this now. So this is simply 2 and this is also 2. So 2 and 2 will give me
4.
So I have a single capacitor here. So what I have now is C1 here. I have it's like this. This would be the combination of C2, 3 and C4. I call it C dash. C dash is the parallel combination of C2, 3 and C4. C2, 3 is 2 and this is also 2. Thus this is 4. This simplifies it really now. This is the point A and this is the point D. The point B has been absorbed. And this is the point G. अब क्या नजर आ रहा है? C dash and C5 are in C series. Thus, this would be a single capacitor of capacity A here. This C double dash is the equivalent of C dash and C5. And clearly C double dash and C1 are in parallel, giving me 5. Revise it in your own minds, please. That is what I'm doing here. You need to know how to observe the series in parallel combination. पोटेंशियल डिफरेंस निकालना तो एक काफी मसूड़ी वाली बात होगी. पहले सीरीज पैरेलल से निकालना. मेरे जैसा एग्जाम में इसके क्रॉस पूछ लेगा पोटेंशियल डिफरेंस. आसान है. First of all, you will have to divide this potential over here, जो main है between this and this. Then जो way है फिर उसके बाद you will have to divide that into this and this. Anyways, we can come to it later. That's a difficult problem. मिटा दो. लो. Let's give you some more. This shows that it is jumping, and you have to find it across these 2 points. Okay, each capacitor is 10 microfarads, because if at all I start giving 12 and 6 and 6 and 3, that is a damn good hint that these must be in series. Each capacitor is 10 microfarads, please. Let me call them C1, C2, C3, C4, C5 and C6. We have another one here of the same genre. Each is 10 microfarad again. I don't think so. Comment with me? No. Actually, if it clicks now, it clicks the first time. Later you will keep looking for that. 30, the first one is 30.
30.
First one is 30. Jay will tell me why after 10 minutes. 5 minutes, okay. 30. 30. The answer is the same, but it's got to be in a different way. The answer is the same. Circuit alagi. Because this thing is joined here. This thing is not joined here. In the second circuit, O is a junction. In the first circuit, there is no junction. Junction is the point where a number of conductors converge or meet. Which one? दोनों तड़े हैं. Both answers are 30. 30 good? Good. Jitneet, तो बनी बात? Both 30. Charan, Jasu, देखो देखो जय बताएगा पहले का 30 कैसे है. C4 और C5 सीरीज में एब्सोल्युटली राइट. C2 C3 सीरीज में एग्जैक्टली एब्सोल्युटली राइट. जय योर मदर शुड कीप गोइंग टू लंदन. पता लगा जी. अच्छा, very important catch here. A and B are the same points. A and B are the same points. They have the same potential. F and G are the same points. This means if I draw this circuit, I have a capacitor C6 across A and G. ये लो जी, A and G. कुछ बीच में नहीं है. 10 microfarads. I have a capacitor between A, F and G. C23 बोल दो. This is C6 and then this is थोड़ा सा मैं इसको ऐसे करके लिख दूं. This is A ऐसे. C23 आ गया जी. अब ये हुआ कि ये हुआ. B हुआ A as well as B. This is A as well as B. Thus there is another here between B and G. ठीक है? How much? 5. C4 5 और एक दो. ये सर्किट खुला जी. This is the points F and G both. C6 is 10. C2 3. 10 and 10. 5. C4 5. 5. C1 10. All are in parallel. It is the same points. 10, 20, 30. CAG is 30 microfarads. सीखो. Let's see this. A और G में ऐसे ही एक लगा हुआ है बार बार और एक बार A और G में लगा हुआ. The catch is, look, you have one capacitor here. And this can also be marked here. This can also be marked here. Okay? And let these be the points. You know, A and let's say B. A और B के क्रॉस C6 लगा हुआ है. Thus C4 and C2 are in parallel because A और O के बीच में एक कैपेसिटर लगा है C4 और A और O के इधर एक बीच लगा है C2 एंड देन यहां से फिर शुरू हो गया ऐसे O और B में लगा है एक you can do from here only if you want yeah it's beautiful this is actually like this is the capacitor C4 this is C2 this is C3 this is C5 and this here is C1 C1 and C5 are not in series who says C4 and C2 are in parallel C dash C3 and C5 are in parallel C double dash C dash and C double dash let me draw it out again we have one of C6 we have one of C24 and we have one of C35 and we have one of C1 अब नजर आ रहा बड़ी अच्छी तरह अब नजर आ रहा बड़ी अच्छी तरह C6 is how much value 10 C24 C2 and C4 are in parallel 20 this would be 20 3 and 5 this would be 20 and this is also 20 and 20 are in series 10 and 10 and 10 10 30 आ गया very interesting Rabnul where is the short circuit in your mind बताओ
अगर एक अपनी इनिशियल पोजीशन पे हो तो
एक ही बात है बेटे
जैसे जो हुआ समझ
बेटे J पॉइंट और J पॉइंट ये सारा सेम पोटेंशियल में है there is nothing in between यहाँ ले this all this जहां मर्जी रख दो C1 is across A and B चाहे ये इतने कह दे चाहे इतने कह दे there is nothing in between I'll mark another wonderful one. अब देख रहे हो ये गलत बात है very interesting ना all are 10 microfarads वो आपने देख लिया यार मैंने बनाया ही वैसा था but the three are in parallel एक बार तो it's like you know देखो I can draw it with a different color to show you very clearly I'll get another color Believe me, plus 2 physics is going to be very, very interesting. It's very interesting. अब देखना मैंने क्या करना है ये ग्रीन वाले ये और ये वाला मैं रेड से बता so that you really come to know that all of them are at the same potential. Hello? मैं हूँ बताओ मैं बता रहा हूँ मैं हूँ पता फिर आए क्यों? Where is the third one here? Where is the third one to be joined here? मेरे को नजर नहीं आ रहा, ये रहा. You got to know. पर अब नूर के लिए रंग बरसाया मैंने. From Noor, all these plates connected with the red are at the same potential. Capacitors have to be connected in parallel when all the negative plates are connected to the same point and all the positive ones are connected together to the same point. This is the positive plate. This is the positive plate. This is the positive plates. All these are joined together, shown in green. These are the negative plates. All negative plates have been joined together. अगर वैसे डाल देता ना मैं आपको टेस्ट में तो तोते उड़ जाते हैं आपके. वो तो आप देख रहे थे कि सर क्या कर रहे हैं. देख और कर लो. हाँ जी. आएंगे आएंगे. बता कौन सा, ये वाला कि ये वाला? इसमें प्रॉब्लम क्या है मुझे बता. What do you think? Okay, I'll refute you. We all will refute you. What do you think are in parallel and series? बेटे यहाँ से चार्जिंग शुरू हुई. क्या यहाँ से कर रही है तूने? यहाँ से कर रही है? ओके, ये C6 डायरेक्टली लगा हुआ है, नो प्रॉब्लम. ये GC पॉइंट A और G में C6 लगा हुआ, C1 भी लगा हुआ. अब देखो A और O में C4 and C2 are in parallel because this and this and this ये बना. A और O में C4 and C2 are in parallel. Actually वायर को मैं ऐसे बनाऊं या खींच के बनाऊं, it should not make a difference here. And that is the entire catch. Similarly O और G में लगा हुआ C3 के नहीं लगा हुआ? O और G में C3 लगा हुआ. O और G में C5 भी लगा हुआ. O और G में C5 भी लगा हुआ. I have drawn them in a manner so that you can see that C2 and C4 are in parallel clearly, and C3 and C5 are also in parallel clearly. Yeah. It's dicey. All shown in green. All these plates are at the same potential. They are joined with the same 2 points. And these 3 plates are joined together. They are really in parallel. Very good one. Okay. टाइम देख लेना, कैपेसिटर सर्किट सॉल्व करके हम कुछ नहीं पता लगता. 4:35 33 मैं वैसे बनाता ही नहीं. एक्सेल बनाना चाहता हूँ. 1 2 3 4 5 6. बाहर वाले सारे 2 हैं, अंदर वाले सारे 1 हैं। 2 microfarads, 2 microfarads, 2 microfarads, 2 microfarad, 2 microfarad, 2 microfarad, 1 microfarad, 1 microfarad, and this is also 1 microfarad. No? देखा? मैं अगर उस तरह बनाता ना तो फटाफट देख लेते हैं सुकृति में क्या हो रहा है। हाँ जी।
3.
हाँ जी।
3.
No.
3. I know. 1, 2, 1, 2. 3 is the
हाँ जी। बड़ा प्यारा खुलता है ना। देखो फिर मत कहना। Please observe. The first thing that I know is that this 2 and 2 are in series. देखिए जाना जरा पाहुल। This 2 and 2 is 1. यहाँ एक 1 है। 1 and 1 2. 2 and 2 1 and 1 2 and 2 1 and 1 2 and 2 1 and 2 ठीक है जी? Gun. You start opening it from the left because those were the only 2 capacitors which were very clearly to be in series. 2 and 2 1, then 1 and 1 in parallel became 2 again. 2 and 2 1 again. 1 and 1 2 and 2 and 1 and 2 work them out. ठीक है? Put in your best foot forward और attempt करो. Sample, solve, unsolve, start attempting. I will keep working throughout the week with capacitor circuits. ठीक है? बंद कर चलता रहे कि बंद भी हो गया।
No battery.